Oh, hi! This week, I'm owning up to an incredible failure that I've made as a Dachshund owner, and I'm finally reconciling things and gonna make my little guy a hot dog costume. It was literally the one request that my partner has made since we have adopted Bert sometime last year, and he also requested it with our last guy, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it for some reason. I'm tired of disappointing people, and I would like to gift the internet with unimaginable cuteness. Now I'm gonna cheat a little bit because Bert already has this little adorable turtleneck sweater. A lot of the hot dog costumes I have seen either have a little like red sleeve you put over the dog, or the actual dog is just the hot dog part. And because he's gonna have a little red sweater, we're gonna go with a mustard topping, even though I fucking hate yellow mustard and I would never disgrace eating an actual hot dog with mustard on it. But to each their own, it's gonna pop against the red sweater. So I will make this compromise, even though it hurts my soul a little bit to be topping this with some mustard. And for that, I have an absolute mountain of this bright yellow Polar Tech fleece. I'm kind of just trying to use up a lot of this fleece that I have in my sewing room because it is easily, obviously, the bulkiest item. And it takes up 3 of the 5 cubbies in my like IKEA fabric rack. There's an entire cabinet behind where you all are that is just full of fleece. So I need to work through some of it. This lighter colored fleece is going to be the inside of the hot dog buns. And then this kind of darker beige is going to be the outer edge of the hot dog buns. So we'll get fancy with our two-tone buns. Will this be a Coney Island style bun or a New England style? I think probably Coney Island, right? I'm going to be doing a little Velcro strap across the tummy, so it doesn't matter if it's stretchy or not. I mean, probably better to not stuff stretchy material, as I learned making the little beans for his Bertie Bott bed. Though this has stretch, it is super thick material, so I think it's actually going to shape up pretty nicely when I stuff it. So without further ado, let us measure out the dog. This here is our pup in question. This is little Bertie Bott. Oh, he's rubbing his little eyes. Gonna measure down his side. We'll call that a foot. Gonna measure around him. We'll call that 18 inches. And I specifically want to see like shoulder to shoulder, I guess, is about 4 inches, maybe 5 inches. We'll call it 5 inches. All right, I'm gonna grab a piece of scrap paper and just cut out a rectangle that's about that size. Oh, and actually, because we're gonna be doing 2 buns, I'm gonna split that measurement in half. So I'm gonna make my rectangle paper pattern piece to go off of 12 inches by 9 inches. Alarmingly, the way this piece of paper is folded is exactly the right amount. So we're just gonna cut this up. I'm not gonna do this in a particularly efficient way. I'm just working through this in my own head. So hopefully if you watch through this whole thing and then try it on your own, you will be able to like knock out a bunch of the troubleshooting steps. So I want that hot dog stripe to be 5 inches across. So I'm gonna fold this down 2.5 inches down. And then there's gonna be Velcro across the bottom. So that's probably gonna need 4 inches across the bottom. So I will fold this in about 2 inches from that side. All right, so here is the template for the hot dog bun pieces. And I'm going to curve these edges, but I'm basically gonna cut out 2 of those pieces with the white fleece and then 2 of those pieces with the tan fleece. All right, so I traced that template onto here. I'm gonna cut 2 layers at the same time so these are gonna match each other, and we're gonna add our seam allowance in as well. So like I said, I'm gonna round these corners a bunch, and we can just eyeball this. It's a dog costume, so I don't think anyone's gonna be real nitpicky about it, especially not the dog. And then I'm actually going to keep all these scraps to then stuff into these to make them nice and puffy. There's yeast in these babies. They gotta rise. So then I'm going to cut these shapes out a little more loosely. I actually want the tan to be a little bit bigger, I think. Nothing is worse than having big bulky fabric, and if it's cut exactly to shape and you're trying to line up your seams and stuff and everything's walking all over the place, it is fucking infuriating. I'm not being precious about this fabric because I have so much of it and it's such a like kind of weird color that I haven't had much use for it in the 2 years that I've had it. So I'm not going to stress myself out about saving every single inch of it. Plus all the scraps are going to get stuffed into these, so it's not even like I'm wasting anything. Okay, so here are our bun pieces. And then I'm just going to use a little chunk of that beige fabric to cut some strips for when I add the Velcro. So now I'm going to take this fabric, ooh no, this is paper, and fold it so that it's 5 inches wide. I think every 2 inches I'm gonna make a little dash. What the fuck am I doing? This is not what I want. Okay, how do we make a squiggle? I should just freehand it. I feel like I'm making this much more difficult than it needs to be, because that's my favorite thing to do to myself, if you haven't noticed. Why is trying to make a squiggle so complicated? What can I use? All right, here's the plan. I'm gonna cut out 2 rectangles this size of the yellow. I'm literally going to just swirl this back and forth to get a gauge. Okay, I don't hate that. All right, I'm just gonna trace a really loose line around all of this. Okay, not the most beautiful work I've ever done, but I don't hate this. So I'm gonna pin these two layers together. I'm gonna stitch along these lines, obviously leaving an opening at one of the ends so I can pull this right side out, and then I'll have to like trim into each of these spots, but that's gonna get us our little tube shape. And at the same time, I'm gonna construct the buns, so I'm gonna stitch one of the white ones to one of the beige ones right sides together, and then we'll stuff everything afterwards. Well, okay, I'm gonna do both of them, but it's like one each. So we'll have a pair of two-toned bun pieces. Is that making sense? All right, this is what that shape looks like. So now I'm going to trim this out and then I'll turn it out. I just wanted to show where I left the gap because it's on like a straight-ish part and also on the inside of the mustard stripe. So it'll be a little less noticeable, I hope. And I also realized that I should insert the tabs for the Velcro. So I've already attached the Velcro strips to the tabs. So I'll pick a side and then insert one of each to whatever I decide is the bottom of each bun so that they can connect on the underside once it's all together. Look at me having a little bit of forethought. Check in. These are looking cute as hell. I'm very into how the buns are looking. Oh my God. I'm gonna stuff them a bit, but not so they're like tubes. And then, my God, trying to turn the mustard stripe out. I want to die. What I should have used was either thinner material or make the stripe thicker because it's too bulky. This does mean I won't have to stuff it with anything, but I'm gonna try a thing, which I should have done before I stitched all this up, but here we are. I'm gonna take this super thick thread. Oh, maybe I should just use ribbon actually. Yeah, I'm gonna use some ribbon. Oh yeah, this should work. Let's see. I'm gonna take this little, not bodkin, but it's called the Purple Thing, which was also gifted to me by my fairy god Cheryl. And my God, it's so handy. So it has this little hole in the middle of it, and then you can take the pointy end, and I'm gonna stick it through the gap I have here, worm it through all of this. It's gonna be really clunky because it's just a bonkers shape. Pull the ribbon, make sure it doesn't like get sucked up into it. This is a nice long piece, but I have the little tail sticking out. Just keep scrunching till I get to the other end. I'm gonna unpick a little bit of the seam and push the purple thing through so that this is pulling out the end. So this is the closed off end. I mean, obviously I need to restitch this. I'm gonna do a ton of back stitching at this end right here, and then I'm gonna pull from that initial end that we started stuffing this into. I hope this works, but it's so bulky. Ugh. Hoping if I like push it in on itself at the end here, that will get us off to a good start. You can use a chopstick or something for this stuff. It's just the curse of anything remotely tube shaped in sewing is it's gonna be a fucking nightmare. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now it's like pulling in on itself. I really don't want it to bunch up anywhere because this is too thick and it's just gonna get stuck. Good thing I just vacuumed in here. There is fluff everywhere. I am starting to get into the habit of just vacuuming after each project because there's always such a mess. There's no way to not make a mess when you're sewing something together. And it's such a small space that I'm in that it's actually not too bad. It's working! Hell yeah. Oh, I'm so relieved. I thought for sure I was just gonna have to restitch all of this. So yeah, I'm just gonna push out all the curves here. I love when I try a thing out of desperation and it ends up working okay. I don't know how long I would have had to walk away from this project otherwise. This is such a dumb use of my time and resources and I love it. I tore the stitching in a couple spots because I did trim everything really close just because it's so bulky. I'm gonna get some dinner in the oven and I will hand stitch those spots closed. Oh, and also like cut the ribbon off the end here. And then we'll be ready to assemble all the pieces together. I'm so excited about this. I don't know why I put this off for so long because this is amazing and I've just been smiling the whole time other than fighting with the tube, but that's just, tubes are gonna tube, you know? Okay, so this is done. It looks so stupid. I'm so happy about it. I have stuffed and closed up one of the little buns. Just a little accountability check-in. I did move this tab to the front because I was gonna have both underneath, but he's too little. No, why? I've made many dog coats this year and they all had a tab across the chest and then one that's gonna go like under the belly. But I stupidly didn't switch what side, so I have two of the same happening here. Thankfully, I haven't stuffed this one yet. I was gonna like make sure that I did them right, and I'm glad I did that check-in because I need to flip this one out and then switch where the tabs are, so I'll have to like unpick that seam and re-put them in, which is not the end of the world. I'm just glad I checked it before I stuffed it because that would be much more annoying. And other than the fleece scraps, I do have this old pillow that a different dog chewed open, so I'm just taking all of the fluff out of here. So just polyfill. Sometimes I wonder if it's cheaper to just buy inexpensive pillows at like a Big Lots, Ocean State job lot type place and take the stuffing coming out of that than actually buy new containers of polyfill, because that shit is so expensive, even with coupons. This is why I hoard all my scraps, so that I can A, recycle it, but also B, be a cheap prick and just continue going about my ways. Okay, he might be a little sparkly because he just, even though we got a bath yesterday, decided to roll in all the dirt outside. And he's trying to run into his clam with his little chicken toy. Now that I have everything stuffed and folded out, I thought now would be a good time to double check. Oh my goodness, this is why they say don't work with kids or animals, right? I just wanted to get a gauge on like where I'm gonna attach the mustard, so I think this is gonna work. Okay, little baby, you can go in your bed now. So while he squeaks away on his little chicken baby, I'm gonna hand tack the mustard in those couple of spots. Not right at the seam or anything, like a little ways down. I think that's gonna do it. I will tediously hand tack that, and then it's gonna be fit time. Also, listen, it's really dumb projects like this that make me eternally grateful that I get the support that I do over on my Patreon, because everyone you're seeing here, they're the ones that are making this happen. I can't believe this is a thing I get to do. Bert also appreciates it, even though he's probably a little embarrassed that I am his mom and stick him in dumb costumes like this. So thank you all so much on both of our behalves. Is that a word? Is behalves a word? Okay. Very satisfyingly, I finished off a spool of thread with my last hand stitch of the mustard stripe. I am freaking the fuck out, y'all. Shall we see if the tiny bean will accept this gift I have made him? Look at these tiny little sleeves. You're so stumpy. I love it. A little tiny Steve Jobs. Are you ready? What is it? Oh, you want to play with it, huh? Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so good already. This is, uh-oh. Bert, look at you! Oh, my sweet boy. You guys, look at this baby. Oh my god, what have I done to you? You're being so tolerant of my shit. I think I've peaked, and I don't know where else to go from here, so I think this is where I'm gonna end it. Links in the description to things, and I will see you all back here next Friday with another video. Thank you so much for hanging out. Am I overthinking and over-explaining things? Of course I am.